We are back and ready to go. It has been a long off season, but we are back and ready to get things started here at probably one of the best tracks to not exist. We're here at Dragon Trail in Croatia. Dragon Trail Seaside is going to be the home for the season opener here of the Grand Prestige League World Elite Championship. Welcome in, everybody, to round number 1 of the season, and it is going to be a fantastic season, and honestly, I am so ready to see how this one is going to go. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and honestly, I have been waiting for the season to start back up for quite some time. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekis. I will be your host and commentator for the season, and it is going to be a fantastic time here. I have been, like I said, I've been waiting for this day to come for quite some time now. Glad to actually be back, ready to go for the season. And man, oh man, it has been a long time coming. The offseason felt like it would never end. They say all good things come to an end, but also so do long wait periods. So, new teams, new faces, full speed here is going to be the name of the game. Everybody is starting from a fresh slate. So, we may be jumping into another lobby. We may have a bit of a rehost, but we are pretty much ready to rock and roll here for the most part. And this is going to be a fantastic season ahead. We got new teams, we got old teams, new drivers, returning faces. And we got some spicy action coming up here for you guys today. It'll be 15 minutes of qualifying, 48 laps of racing here around this circuit. And I mean, Dragon Trail is probably one of the best places to host any kind of race. It doesn't matter what kind of car you're in. You could probably even just ride a bicycle around this track and it's going to be peak racing. So Dragon Trail is a bit of a fan favorite, and there will be a bit of a lobby rehost. So get a new lobby open here soon. We'll just hang out here until the new lobby is officially open, and then we're going to jump straight on in to round number 1 of the season. It'll be 15 minutes of qualifying, followed by a 48 lap Grand Prix. So hopefully you guys are in for a long one, but a fast one, because that is exactly what we are going to be doing here today. So just bear with us. We'll get in the lobby here as soon as possible. Yep, and we did not have to wait too long for that, so we're going to go ahead and jump straight on in. We're going to go ahead and key in the lobby ID, and then we'll just go ahead and jump kind of straight on into it. Alright, here we go. We're going to jump into the session and get ready to race, because this is going to be a fast and furious one. And while we're jumping into this lobby, I'm going to go ahead and invite a very good friend of mine, and he'll also be jumping into the commentating box. You know him, you love him. It's going to be B23 jumping into the session. There's actually some questions if he was actually going to race today. So, as fun as it would be to see him race on track, he is a fantastic driver. But we're going to enjoy having him here in the commentary booth. Any chance we can get B23 in the comms booth, we're going to go ahead and take it. So, let's go ahead and run through who we got here today. It is going to be reigning champion Nuko here alongside returning champion with the championship team of Whiteout and King, coming back with the Acura or Spectre Acura Racing team. Whiplash, they made some waves last season with the Foxhound Speed Group, and they are going to go ahead and be back at it. We'll jump onto the field and see who we got here. Whiplash racing for Foxhound Speed Group, Whiteout for Spectre Acura Racing. Yuki racing with High Caliber, making the change from EXO to High Caliber. And Nuko, reigning champion in the Toyota. Lucian still racing for EXO AMR, the reigning constructors champions here today. So it'll be good to see where they can come from. A new driver and a new team joining the field today. Oreo, as we're going to call him, or otherwise known as JMR, running with the LFO Racing Team. LFO, looking for organization racing team, is a free agency racing team that have joined in for the first time. They have and they've been through some changes recently. JMR is the most recent signee, a representative from Apex Motorsports, and then former LFO man and SWT driver Tall Man jumping in now. He is racing with the Project Zero Porsche team, and then he'll be joined by F16. So the two former LFO drivers are now with Project Zero Racing. So kind of a full circle moment for them. Started the season as part of this free agency team, and now they are part of Project Zero Porsche. So as the team owner of LFO, I'm actually really proud of those two guys. Can't wait to see how they do with this new team. And as he has now joined the session, we also have B23 here today. How are you doing today, mate?
Okay, now it is. Hello everybody, it is good to be back for round one here at Dragon Trail. We've been practicing a lot for this over the past handful of weeks, and so these guys are probably extra prepared compared to the normal race that you would see in this league, so I'm very excited to see how it goes today.
Indeed, yeah. So, I mean, lots of new faces, lots of new drivers, lots of returning drivers and teams as well. So, I mean, this is probably one of the most stacked grids we have seen in a very long time. Whiteout is returning alongside King. The Spectre Acura Racing team is back. Foxhound Speed Group made waves last season. Now they're back as well. They were looking really good in pre-quali. And even some interesting driver changes. Yuki has swapped places with May JP at High Caliber to EXO. So that'll be interesting to see how it does with the new team. The aforementioned Project Zero squad taking in the LFO Racing squad. So that makes up the Porsche team for today. Nuko obviously running for Toyota here today. Alex making the jump to Exodus, to EXO AMR, which is going to be a fun change. May JP currently also competing for High Caliber. He is racing for High Caliber and also recently signed to EXO for SWT. So lots of fun driver transfers here today. We have just about a full lobby. But honestly, I mean, this is going to be such a fun season, B23.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it has been quite the silly season leading up to this opening round here. As you mentioned, all the driver changes, but even within those driver changes, there's been additional changes just today alone, as we have some drivers kind of swapping around in reserve seats to main seats. Alex, one of which being filling in EXO for Comer, who couldn't be here today. So he's driving in EXO instead of High Caliber, which moved May JP from Project Zero to High Caliber to fill that in, which then moved Tall Man to Project Zero to fill in for him. So there's kind of a whole, musical chairs going on, as is common with race leagues, but these guys have done it for a good handful of seasons now, so they're also getting used to the procedures of the driver market period, and silly seasons are underway here as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's actually interesting because this F16/ASJ to Project Zero actually broke not even 24 hours ago. So that news actually came out around, or it was kind of notified or at least I was told about it about, it was about like 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time last night that I found out that the switch was happening. So, yeah, I mean, Tall Man, F16, brand new drivers jumping in for the first season. MayJP as well, new driver. J Mart, new driver as well. So we got some rookies here tonight. We'll see how they do. Of course, we're obviously all looking forward to see how everything is going to go. And honestly, we're ready. It's been... The off-season could have not ended soon enough, honestly. It was been a pretty long off-season. Even from pre-qualifying, there's been a bit of that super formula-shaped hole in my heart. So, glad to have that pretty much be refilled with GPL.
Absolutely, and this is the premier series that we all look forward to. It's nice to have a break and try out some other cars and series and disciplines and whatnot in the meantime, but once your mind is refreshed, we are always longing to return to this series.
Yeah, indeed. So, I mean, it's on our way to becoming one of the premier, if not the premier, Super Formula Series on Gran Turismo. We got some very exciting talent here. I mean, the rookies are going to be the ones I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Because J Mart, brand new driver, not a lot of information on him. Tall Man has been a very steady force in recent times. He's been competing in several different series under the LFO banner. He competed in the Charity Series hosted by 9 Pegasus Panthera back in November. He also raced in the Hellas NASCAR Championship as well. And F16 actually got a podium on his second race in Grand Prestige League when he raced in the LMP Master Series when we went to Fuji. And also, MayJP also got a podium as well the following round. So, lots of very quick rookies here. We'll see how they mix it up with the established drivers.
Yeah, very excited to see it, especially just over one lap, because the pace I've seen at the top end of this grid is absolutely lightning. I've seen just a handful of minutes ago in a practice lap before we got here, I believe it was Whiplash I saw that was in the 16 in quali spec, which is absolutely ridiculous if you're familiar with this track. In race pace, usually if you can get into the 20s, the low 20s, that's pretty decent, but not around these guys. Around these guys you have to find an extra 2 gears in order to be competitive.
Yeah, so it's going to be particularly interesting how this one shapes up, because I mean there's a lot of unknowns coming into this, and I know there's a lot of drivers that have been putting in a ton of practice. So a lot of drivers really just, I mean, they've been practicing their hearts out for this one. I mean, you want to start off the season on the right foot. You want to go ahead and start. You want to start in a good spot, because you'll get a lot of a morale boost for you and your team, really. And qualifying for the first time this season, we've been waiting a while for it. Qualifying is underway for the first time in 2026, Season 7. We got cars on track for qualifying. It has been a long time coming, but now we see how things are going to shake up. So, Nuko, reigning champion, running that golden #1 on his Toyota, and I think he actually is the lone Toyota on track here today. At least I think. I could be wrong.
Unless Rogue is here.
Oh yeah, Rogue, that's right. That's another driver switch that we kind of haven't really talked about yet, so.
A surprising shake up there, yeah.
Toyota is
the longtime teammate of Nuko there at Toyota.
Yeah, Flaring Aces is actually an SWT, so he's not actually competing in WEC for the first time since I've got here. So, we do see a lot of support for a lot of drivers. We see support for MayJP and Tall Man so far. I love seeing when friends and family come to support their drivers. It's always really awesome to see, and the drivers appreciate it too, so glad to see the support there. Thank you guys so much for tuning on into the session. So, let's go on to talk about as we got qualifying going underway, let's go on to talk about the early season, right? It's first round of the season, brand new season. Everybody starts from a fresh slate, brand new start. So the goals for some of these drivers and teams, obviously the main goal for all these guys is to win the championship. But let's talk about each team in specific. So Nuko, he wants to add another championship to his already impressive tally. But I think his main focus for the season is trying to put his team in a position to actually get the double. Because he didn't quite get the double last time. But do you think he can go for the double this time, the drivers and the constructors?
Well, while he on his own is always going to be competitive for that driver's championship, it usually becomes a battle of the second drivers to determine who's going to have the best shot at that constructor's championship. And when you look at the strength of the number 2 drivers across some of the top teams this season, the level has just increased so much that I think he's probably on the back foot in the constructors. When you look at Foxhound, for example, they have Viper and Whiplash this season. Acura has Whiteout and King No Skill. And of course EXO always having a strong lineup, winning the Constructors Championship in both categories for a little while now, with this season Illusion and Comer. And when Comer's not in that seat, it's Alex, who we know is also can mix it up with at the very top of the grid as well.
Yeah, so I mean, just looking at the early season, Foxhound definitely looked like to be some of the favorites coming into the season. They probably had one of the strongest driver lineups out there. EXO definitely right there, and between the top 4 teams, which is crazy now because previously we pretty much really had 2, maybe 3 top teams at most, but now we got 4 definitive and potentially even more. So, because, I mean, Foxhound is going to be a strong team. They got Viper, who has been incredible. The most recent Formula GT champion, and Whiplash was really strong last season as well. The Foxhound Speed Group looked really good at Spa during the pre-quali. So I think they're going to be a team that's definitely within a shout of getting the constructors. Acura coming back, though, that's going to be a fun one, as King actually gets an overtake in quali onto Whiplash. So that's a statement of intent there for King. Him and Whiteout, they're both championship level drivers in their own right. So Acura's got a really good shot here. You can't count out, you definitely cannot count out EXO, because as soon as you count out EXO is when they lock in and get some really good results. And Alex, he's got the raw pace, but there has been questions over the last couple of seasons about his racecraft. He does do some kamikaze attempts every so often. I mean, I remember in the GT500 championship 2 years ago, that was definitely a massive talk point with Alex, that he could start fast but end up usually with a healthy amount of damage. So, but there's also some newcomers that we got to really consider as well. F16 getting a full-time drive with Porsche. He's been pretty quick here so far, and he's got a 117 right now, so he's not too far off of pretty much the top teams at this stage. He's actually ahead of Illusion, the reigning Super Formula 500 winner and championship runner-up, so that might be a bit of a statement of intent as well. As now we also have May JP also pretty much right there. A lot of these drivers in the 117s. Yuki as well, Tallman in the 118, so everybody's within the 120s, so it's going to be a pretty stacked grid here for WEC this time around.
Yeah, and the difference between being a top driver and a backmarker is not much in this grid. It's maybe a second at that, if that. It's, you know, these times are really close, and they're only going to get closer too, because I know a lot of guys in the kind of midfield right now have not quite set a representative lap. Some of these are just banker laps, just to have something on the board, so that they can then push a little harder next time, not be as risky about it. And some of these guys, like Illusion, I noticed was struggling on his outlap so far. He had to take an additional outlap to just prepare the tires a little more. And then when he did start pushing with the overtake, made a mistake on the exit of turn 2. So then had to kind of abort again, use that as an additional prep lap. And it doesn't seem like he has a representative time on the board yet, so I'm really curious kind of where he's going to slot in here. Of course, we're assuming it's going to be in the top 5 more than likely, but that might have to come a little later in the session.
Yeah, so, I mean, also with a lot of these drivers, I mean, they are pretty much brand new to the series. So, I mean, you got J-Mart, you got AJP, ASJ, Tallman, they're all new. It's their first Super Formula season, so those drivers, they have a pretty high skill ceiling, so they're going to get better as things go on. So, I mean, as time progresses, these drivers are going to get better. They're going to find their feet or find their footing a bit better. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see. I'm gonna really enjoy watching the rookies, but also the battle at the top. And actually, the most recent comment in chat kind of summed it up. This is going to be an immense race. Immense, intense, action-packed, cinema. You can throw every adjective and noun in the book at it. It's going to be a beautiful one. And we are so back. But also, I just want to note this qualifying gap here between the top 3 right now. So, there's 1500ths of a second between Viper, also known as Adaptive Inc., and Nuco. And only a further 1100ths back is Whiteout. Alex is about a 10th back from them, so it's so far looking very spicy here in this field. So, looking forward to, I know I've said it a bunch already, but I'm just looking forward to this, to just the season getting started. It's been a long time coming, and the wait is finally over.
And we have Viper, also known as Adaptive Inc. here on the screen in P1, looking to extend his lead as he is now about purple by maybe 300ths this time around, so looking to extend his lead just that tiny bit more as he's about to cross the line here, so we'll see. Oh, and it ends up not being an improvement, down by 200ths of a second, but as you can see, those are the margins that we're working with today. Up a couple hundredths, now down a couple hundredths, and that's the difference between improving your mark or not.
Driver's always going to be chasing that little bit of improvement, and that is, some drivers already kind of showing off their displeasure running into traffic. And traffic, as a good friend of mine would say, traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. And typically we use that in the context of multi-class endurance racing when you got hypercars, GT3s, etc. But it really works here in Super Formula and F1 as well. Just because on qualifying, you're going to have traffic. I mean, it's a bigger track, so I mean, it's not like the track that I was, quote, begging for, being Nordwand. Well, that track, I mean, traffic is going to be just obnoxious on that circuit, but overall, traffic does play a factor in quality. It can be your greatest benefit or your biggest curse as well.
Yeah, and as well, this track is pretty wide, so there are a lot of spots you can move over if you're not on a hot lap for the guy behind who is. However, that does still require the slow driver being very aware of their surroundings and kind of situational what corners not to be on, where to move over to the side, as we see Tallman getting over for Viper right there as he sets a purple lap by 7,000ths of a second. And yeah, that awareness can be difficult, as some of these guys, you know, most of these guys don't have someone in their ear letting them know there's another car approaching. And so just keeping your eye on that large map during qualifying or your course radar is very important, and sometimes can be harder than it seems when you're managing so many things in your mind, managing your tire temperature on your out lap, just making sure you're so absolutely perfect and focused for your hot lap. And then also in the background of your head have to make sure, try to keep in mind what cars around you are on hot laps or prep laps.
Exactly. I mean, the course map is a personal favorite of mine. And even if I'm just racing against races. Like, if I'm just doing the career mode races, I do enjoy having that radar so I can just kind of see how close I am to someone, so I can at least try to make an effort to give them enough space. Because, I mean, especially, like, we're seeing Alex here pull over for Nuko as Nuko makes his way through, going through the Dragon Trail CSAT chicane, going through this Monaco-esque section of the course. And, I mean, if that situation awareness, I mean, it's something that isn't really talked about enough when it comes to motorsports, but situational awareness is so key, because I know a lot of people who may be new to racing think you pretty much just got to focus on what's ahead of you. That is absolutely not true. Obviously, focusing on what's ahead of you is obviously going to be an important factor, but you really just gotta keep your eyes practically at the back of your head, especially in qualifying and also like in your opening laps. We are down to about the last about 2.5 minutes of qualifying here. Alex, though, sending purples. He is sending purple sector 1 for the German driver. The substitute coming in for Exo AMR. We'll see if he can go ahead and disrupt the order. He's been pretty close to this top pack. And we will see if Exo AMR can put a driver on pole position. And surprisingly, it actually would not be Lucian at this point. Lucian relatively kind of struggling here in the first round of the season. So we'll see if Alex can go ahead and be the shining light for this team. But
yeah, it seems like he still hasn't really gotten an improved lap on the board, so I don't think this is quite representative for Illusion's pace thus far, but he's going to have to lock in and get a time up on the board now because he's running out of time.
Yeah, we know Illusion, I mean, we know Illusion is a championship caliber driver. We've seen him win races here before. He's the Super Formula 500 winner from 2025, so I'm in the same boat as you. I don't think he kind of got the Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari treatment where it just kind of became washed over the course of a single season. I don't think that's going to be the case for Illusion. But oh, that outlap might prove otherwise, though. As the outlap, he does have a bit of a snap going into the gravel a bit. But yeah, this is uncharacteristic actually of the Norwegian driver. Usually he's pretty much right up there with Nuko, pretty much where Whiteout would be, but it has not been easy going for him. But on board now with the Porsche driver of F16, the Fighting Falcon of GPL, making his way through the last couple of corners here, and we'll see if he can improve here. He's currently in P9, and he's gonna go ahead and jump into, oh, he's not gonna jump anywhere. He's gonna remain at P9. Not quite an improvement. Whiplash definitely not having a fun time here in qualifying with the traffic. And Rogue is going to go ahead and he's going to begin his next lap for the Toyota team. But yeah, I mean, seeing a pretty decent spread of drivers and teams at the moment. And all bit into the gravel, into the wall goes Rogue, and that is going to be his qualifying done and dusted. Timer is out. We'll see if Viper here can go ahead and improve. He's going to make his way across the line. MajP will personally improve. And now coming across the line, it is going to be an improvement there from Viper. Can Whiteout have a response? The American driver returning to GPL after taking a sabbatical. He will not improve. Now what about Nuko? What about Nuko? Is Nuko going to go ahead and improve? He's going to come across the line. It will not be an improvement. Reigning champion starts P3 for now. What about Alex? Can Alex make an improvement here? Currently P4. And here we go. And Alex going to come across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? It is, but he will not improve his position. Whiplash will be the next one to try to finish up his lap here. We'll see if the Foxhound Speed Group driver can go ahead and make any improvements on time or position. Across the line he goes. No improvement there. Lucian, he's done. F16's done. MayJP is done. Yuki and Oreo are going to be the last drivers, I think. Last 2 drivers on the improvement. And yeah, J-Mart going to be the last driver to go ahead and try to improve here for LFO Racing. He's going to give it everything he's got. No, he's going to come into the pit, so he's done. That is qualifying pretty much done and dusted here.
Well, what an interesting order we find ourselves in here. But at the very sharp end of the grid, not too surprising to see Viper and Whiteout. That's basically the expected result in the top 2, but outside of that, everything is kind of everywhere. Nuco P3, that's not too surprising either. But then from there down, it seems kind of jumbled up, and what I'm very surprised to see is it seems to me like P8 is the beginning of what we would call the rest of the grid. Everyone above that P8 level, I would say, is a top driver here, and very surprised to see that Rogue is the best of the rest in that regard, if we would consider that as such. And a very solid time in general, only 1/10 off of Illusion's time, a little less than that. And he is qualified above the likes of ASJ, MayJP, and Yuki. That's the most surprising to me out of this little grouping here. Usually we would see Yuki comfortably above those drivers in quali or a race.
Well, you know what they say, a new season, a new start. So we are already kicking off this season with a bit of a shocker. So now it's going to be, we're going to take a look at our qualifying grid here for round 1. It is going to be Adaptive Inc. pole position ahead of Whiteout, Nuco, Alex, Whiplash, King, Lucian, Rogue, and then we have ASJ, MayJP, Yuki, Tallman, and Oreo rounding out our field here tonight. But still, the whole field is separated by less than 2 seconds. That is very competitive here for WEC. And it makes me curious about how SWT is going to go ahead and perform.
Yeah, these are the margins here where the top guys have basically unlimited pace. Then it's, I'd imagine that it'd be even more condensed in SWT.
Yeah, and I mean, you're racing next week in SWT, so you're going to be a reigning champion going back into trying to defend your title and defend your team's title as well. So that should be a fun one. You'll be actually partnering MayJP with Excel Rapide, so that'll be interesting to see next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited for it, and it's a privilege to be able to just continue in the manner that we have with EXO, and MayJP has shown a lot of like dedication to his craft and improving at a very, very rapid rate, and that's kind of what we like to see with EXO, so I thought it was a good no-brainer. He's easy to work with as well, so I have good hopes for the team championship. I did just run into a problem last night with my rig. My brake pedal is having a very odd issue, so I'm going to be probably dissecting that today, and hopefully it doesn't affect my performance, but if it stays how it is, it certainly will. So hopefully I can get that fixed and it be smooth sailing for the whole season. I expect to be competitive if it is if there's no hardware problems. I expect to find myself at least at the top of the grid. Hopefully I'll try my best.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to be joining SWT with FaZe Ferrari. I'm kidding, no. I did not do pre-qualifying, so I wouldn't. Even if I wanted to, that's not going to happen. But, yeah.
That would be cool. We would need a commentator, but I would welcome you on the grid for sure.
Yeah, I like watching you guys in SWT and WEC fight, so I think that's probably going to be my preferred position. But imagine if we did get like a FaZe clan or someone to join GPL. As we're actually setting up the lobby here, we're setting the grid once again. Let's just go ahead and start the Ruckus and B23 podcast here. So, if you were to bring in any major esports organization like FaZe Clan, Optic, 100 Thieves, Team Liquid, etc., which would you bring in if you had your choice?
Well, see, a lot of these esports orgs are very kind of multi-discipline, multi-game type of teams, but my favorite esports team that I follow in Rainbow Six is Dark Zero. I'm pretty sure they're only a Rainbow Six team, but I've always loved Dark Zero. They got really cool branding, and so I would love to see a Dark Zero livery out there.
I made a Dark Zero livery a while back. I don't think I've ever posted it anywhere, but I kind of almost went, I went for like, kind of like their, the old MP44 McLaren style, but with their colors, and it actually came out pretty nice. I would personally bring in M80, because M80 is a team that I've actually been talking with quite a bit recently, and it's an interesting team. It's actually made from X-Phase members, I believe, so they formed Xset and then formed M80, and I love their shock yellow color, so I think it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting color on the grid. It's like this highlighter yellow.
Yes, very bright.
Yeah, so it'd be an interesting color on the grid. But yeah, it'd be interesting to get like one of those teams on the grid. Obviously, FaZe would be a fun one to see. Although, granted, the closest thing they do to any kind of racing is, I think they do Rensport. Actually, I think they used to do Rensport. Although Rensport, that had a generational fall off. So as unfortunate as that is, but I mean, you could speculate about a lot of teams, really. I mean, Virtus Pro would be a new country bringing in. It'd be a Russian organization jumping in, so that'd be new, because I know we got teams and drivers from all over the globe. That's what I love about racing in general. I mean, just looking at the drivers we have in our session right now, driver from Malta, driver from America, France, Germany, Norway, the UK, Japan. I mean, you got drivers and teams from all over the place.
Yeah, it's truly a world championship, and we try to find the best of the best all over the globe, and this is where they gather to compete. And it does look like we are just about getting started. Nuco is giving out some instructions in the driver's chat. And as he's saying here, just as normal in previous seasons, there is no overtake usage on lap 1, similar to Formula 1 and the use of DRS, not allowed on lap 1. So there is no restrictions as far as tires, no mandatory pit stops, so the strategies are going to be wide open today. And of course, mechanical damage is set to heavy, which means that the only way to repair it is in the pits. So damage will cost you even more than it normally would.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the only requirement when it comes to tires is that you need 4 of them on your car, which I'd be pretty impressed if you could somehow manage to get less than 4 tires on your Super Forma and still drive it around. But all jokes aside, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And that's what I love about the series, too. It's open tuning, open tires, open strategy. Pretty much you could do... It really just... It doesn't just test driver... It tests their knowledge of their machine and tests their ability to get a good feel of it. And I think that's what makes some of these top drivers so strong, is that they're able to get their own setups and get to a point where they have that car pretty much as like an extension of themselves. That's obviously what you want to try to do as a racer. You want to try to get to where you're pretty much, your car is an extension of you, essentially, because that way it feels the most natural and it feels the best. And when you feel great, you're gonna perform great. And I think as some of these drivers progress through the season, they're gonna get more comfortable with tuning, they're gonna get more comfortable with setting the car up to meet their specific needs, and then their pace will improve as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. This definitely tests the entirety of a driver in this series, which I like. A lot of series are just show up and go fast for a little bit, and the fastest guy will generally win the race, but it's a very multifaceted discipline in this series, where the mental capacity that you have to be a top driver is just immense. And now we're on the grid.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 2026, we're about to get racing here. GPL Season 7 We'll see those 5 red lights on the screen for the first time. And for the first time in 2026, it is lights out and away we go here in Season 7. Adaptive Inc. getting a very good start now, making his way down into turn 1. And they got to get ready for this really tight chicane here. Whiteout trying to make moves. Everybody, oh, there's contact. Whiteout forced off the track a bit there. And he is going to lose a bit of time. It is a massive gaggle of cars. Viper able to get away, though. The 2 Porsche drivers in the back. He's kind of scrapping it out now. Tall man into gravel a little bit. Being forced to run wide. And he is going to go ahead and just duke it out with the LFO driver of Oreo there. And I feel like I'm still butchering that name. But regardless, and Rogue is around. Yuki is around. And it has not been a great start there. The high caliber driver of Yuki's got damage on the front and rear wing, so he's going to have to come in to get that fixed. So a bit of calamity there. Let's go ahead and see if we can kind of dissect what happened to Yuki there. Oh, I think he just kind of spun. Yeah, not too much else we can kind of gather from that. Just kind of spun out there. But Alex is up. He's up into P2. He's going to fight Whiteout here coming into the final corner of the track, and now it's going to be a straight fight here, but a little bit of chaos in the start, as to be expected. A lot of these drivers are racing each other for the first time in a competitive setting, so, but overall it has been a pretty solid start here. Whiteout trying to make a move on Alex, coming into what a friend of mine likes to call the death chicane, and it looks like Whiteout might have gotten a better exit from it.
Oh boy, they're getting scrappy here. Wheel to wheel through turn 5. A bit of a shove, but he stays in it. Alex still right there in the slipstream now as they go through the S's where the slipstream becomes dirty air. And Alex just trying to stay just outside of the wake of the dirty air and then back in it as soon as it becomes a straight slipstream around the outside, which will become the inside of the next corner. Very good car placement. Alex takes the position right back. Now this is a very good track for battling because usually after a corner that is a decent overtaking opportunity, there's a long straight right after where the car who just got passed can make it back up and set themselves up for a retake in the next corner. So we're going to see back and forth battles all day long here as long as they can stay close.
Exactly that, B23, as the drivers continue to make their way around the track. We do have some very fun battles here for a good portion of the grid. Alex now still trying to fight it out with Whiteout here. Taking a look at Whiteout's teammate, King. He's trying to chase down Whiplash, who wasn't happy in qualifying. Definitely hoping for more there. And F16's up a position. He qualified 9th and now is up into P8. And yeah, and actually here's something interesting too, is that Alex and Whiteout are fighting tooth and nail. I mean, we've seen it quite a bit here. But they're allowing Nuko and Lucian to come back in. But more crucially, Viper's just running away with this one. He is already about 2.5 seconds out. And, I mean, while these guys are pretty much boxing each other like it's a UFC fight here in Croatia, Viper's just slithering away with this one.
Yeah, Alex keeping his car in front of Whiteout is the best possible thing for Viper at this point in time, as he's going to just continue to extend that gap the more they fight. Does look like Alex is gaining a little bit of a gap now, but it's not a comfortable gap by any means, especially if Whiteout can stick with him after this corner right here. It's the best chance to catch up as this long start-finish straight. And very interesting to notice too, there's a couple split strategies across the grid, notably in EXO as Alex is here on the soft tire fighting up at the front. Illusion in P6 now, got passed by Whiplash just now, but Illusion on the medium tire as well, so looking to just kind of extend his stint to see if he can make up ground that way with the overcut.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be particularly interesting to see how the strategy plays out. Going longer might be the smart call for Illusion, just so he can try to kind of manage his way up the field. I mean, we have seen it before. I mean, the recent retiree of Boita, William Boita, actually, I mean, Both Boitas really were really good on tire management. And Exo and Whiplash, or Illusion and Whiplash going deep into the hairpin. And it's going to be Illusion jumping back up into P5, but now he's got Whiplash right on his tail. King is also pretty much right here, part of this battle. He's pretty much got a front row seat, essentially, as we watch it from his POV on his Acura. As he watches from the back, Whiplash going to try to dive up the inside. And Whiplash will retake P5. Illusion is not giving that one up without a fight. He is a championship caliber driver for a reason. He has been the champion before. He wants to return to that position. And he's going to continue to just fight it out and do everything that he possibly can to try to at least claw back some points. But here's the interesting thing, though, to note, is that right now, in terms of positioning, if Illusion can get up another spot, it'll still be a good team result for EXO, because Alex is pretty firmly in P2 at this point.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I'm trying to do some live calculations in my head, but I just can't do it. There's too many, and as they keep switching, it does seem like Acura, EXO, and Foxhound are still going to be pretty close given the spread of results here.
Actually,
if it stays.
It's worth noting that Whiplash actually has got damage. He's got rear wing damage, so Illusion is going to start pulling away now because Whiplash does not have that rear downforce. He'll have to get it fixed when he comes into the pits. And yeah, he's gonna start just kind of trickling down the order. King might be able to be easy pickings for him, as King now is gonna try to line him up and go for a pass here in the Acura. And that's gonna be as easy as you'd want it to be. Whiplash trying to salvage some of that slipstream, but the Spectre Acura racing machine of King is just gonna go ahead and plant himself up a position. Whiplash is going to try to fight it, but here's a dangerous thing for Whiplash. Take a look at King's overtake and look at Whiplash. Only 6 laps in, and Whiplash is already dangerously low on that overtake.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult, as we say, about just kind of managing your pace throughout the whole race. We're only on lap 6 now, and that's not good for the rest of the race as it goes, but maybe driving with a bit of desperation, or potentially, I think mostly.
He goes super deep. Whiplash goes very deep there, and it didn't really work out. He's actually just got passed by F16 too, so that definitely did not play out in his favor. So I think that's a bit of that desperation driving that you were talking about there, B23. Whiplash, he was so eager to try to get the retake, but he just overcooked it, and now, not only did he not get that position, he lost another one. And now AJP is looking to potentially try to get a move done here.
Yeah, and through no fault of his own, kind of just got tangled in the lap 1 kind of bottlenecking that happened there into turn 1, but ended up being the only one with some damage. Now, luckily for him, it is probably the lightest type of damage you can have. Just the rear wing probably affects your driving the least amount, but it still will make you slower. And when you expect yourself to see yourself at the top end of the grid, and you find yourself on the back foot with a disadvantage in your car as well, that's when you start to kind of burn a little bit of extra overtake, push a little too hard on the tires, and he's got the soft tire too, which are starting to now drop off. This is the phase where the soft tire is going to lose performance quickly once it starts to hit around this range.
Yeah, so the combination, because he's going to be slower on the straights, and he's also going to have less rear downforce coming through the corner, so Whiplash is generally going to be pretty slow at this point. And we know Whiplash is a quick driver. We know that for a fact. But he had a rough qualifying, just kept getting the unlucky draw with traffic. And then now he's got caught up in some of that turn 1 tomfoolery, and then just ended up with damage. And now AJP is about to make things easy pickings for him. And Whiplash says he's going to try to fight it. He's going to try to stick to the inside line, and they get close to touching, almost making contact.
Whoa,
and
that was
AJP
very
is
impressive
up in
car
the
placement.
P8.
Yeah, Mage AP really making his car as absolutely wide as possible. As soon as he got his rear wing clear of Whiplash's front wing, he positioned his car not all the way to the right to set up the next corner, but kind of just in the middle. So now Whiplash has to choose a very outside line, which will almost surely give up the position, or try an inside line where he might not even make the corner, a very not advantageous inside line. The way Mage AP set it up very beautifully there with the car placement. Oh, ASJ with a bit of a drift as I just switched to him for a moment as I'm going through the field here. Another interesting note is of split strategy being shown here from King on the medium tire, Whiteout on the soft tire, just like with EXO, Illusion on the medium tire, Alex on the soft tire.
Yeah, actually, we might see that from some of the other drivers around as well, so I'm actually going to take a look at it. So, F16 on the medium, actually, both him and Tallman are on the same strategy. And this is actually a really fun full circle moment for these two. They've been good friends for a long time. They both got into GPL through the LFO team, and now they're teammates, once again, at Porsche, Project Zero Porsche, even if it is just for today. But it's a really fun full circle moment. And funny enough, all three drivers that are in GPL that are managed by LFO, at least at some stage, are all pretty close to each other. They're all in this race. The only out driver who is an LFO guy that's not in this race is Anti-Shifty, who will be making his LFO debut in SWT, as that team has been rebranded to LFO Karma. As now, Ario is going to try to make a move. J-Mark gets it done. Very clean up the inside. He started in last. He is up in the 9th. Excellent stuff there from the LFO guy.
Yeah, it looks like Whiteout is in range. As our race leader goes into the pits, Whiteout is now in range.
Oh, he's got
Alex.
massive damage on the front suspension.
Oh, very interesting. I didn't even... Yeah, so our race leader making a mistake all on his own, seemingly, as we do see a bit of front wing damage. And but very luckily for him, you couldn't have got damage at a better time, because that is right in the pit window for that soft tire, extending beyond 10 laps on that soft tire. Now you're really getting to the phase where the mediums are much better than the softs at that stage. And Adaptive Inc., aka Viper, now on the medium tire, and a brand new medium at that. It'll take a couple of laps for them to get warmed up, but once they do, he will be undoubted one of the faster drivers on the grid.
Exactly that, and Alex and Whiteout, they're probably going to have to come into the pits pretty soon as well, because their tires are starting to kind of hit that cliff. So they're going to start running out of grip here soon on those softs, and now it's going to be pretty much a pit battle between these guys coming in. So I think they're probably going to come in this lap is what I'm going to predict.
Ooh,
Alex having a bit
out.
of a snap. Yeah, no, they stayed out, so they're going to try to extend. Trying to extend late, but the question is, how much time are you losing compared to Viper, who's just gone past Mage AP for P7 on the road? Mage AP, actually a bit of a snap there from Viper, and actually Mage AP is back past. So both drivers actually kind of using a good amount of overtake, and actually Mage AP is actually still trying to hold on. He's fighting with Viper, fighting with one of the highest rated drivers in the league, and Mage AP, he lost the position ultimately to a car with fresher tires, but man, did he put up a fight. And that definitely caused Adaptive Inc. some time as well, because that cost him at least about a tenth or two to Alex and Whiteout just up the road.
Yeah, and a bit of nightmare scenario. I mean, you're still in a great position if you're Viper. He gave himself a lot of cushion out in that first stint, but when you're the race leader, when you go into the pits, that's what you are dreading. You are so hoping that when you come out of those pits, you don't end up right behind a car that's going to slow you down, and that you have to battle in order to clear, because that's just going to eat into all the good work you did on the first stint, building up that margin when you were out on your own, as well as the time I'm certain he must have lost gaining that damage. However, he did end up gaining that damage, as we now have the next best race leader in Alex in the pits now as well, shedding those completely destroyed soft tires. His pace was starting to decline quite a bit. He was about a second slower on those final 2 laps than he was on his best laps of that stint. And now he comes out just behind Adaptive Inc. there in P7, about 1 second behind. So that's much better than the gap before they went into the pits. So this is working out very nicely for Alex in that EXO vehicle there, just ahead of May JP. So he didn't have to go through the same the traffic of having to get through May JP either.
Yeah, and actually gained about a second actually from that, so good stuff there from Alex. He is going to try to continue.
Viper's catching more traffic now as he finds the back of ASJ in that Project Zero Porsche.
Yeah, so we'll see. He's going to try to fire it up the inside. He's got the fresher tires at this point. F16 going to try to hold on, but he's not going to fight it much longer. He knows that he is on. He knows he's on a fresher tire, and he's not his main race at the moment. So F16 just going to stick to his strategy. He knows it's not going to be a fight worthwhile. Whiteout though coming in, so his tires are extra cooked. The question is, where does he come out relative to the rest of the field? There goes King.
This is going to be critical.
There go. Oh, he's behind. Where's he come out in relation to Alex? Side by side with Alex. So he does still come out behind, close. But yeah, not even a second between them.
Yeah, 1 lap of a difference between brand new cold mediums and absolutely cooked soft tires, and the margin stayed relatively the same. Alex gaining a little bit as a result, but now Alex also finding the back of some traffic. This is going to help out Whiteout if he cannot clear ASJ as efficiently as Viper was able to. Viper clearing ASJ with very little to no resistance as far as the amount of time he lost in that corner. Alex getting by in the S's, which is very difficult when you go through there. It's a very fast, flowy sector that is easy to do on your own, but when you're there with another car, it narrows up pretty good, and just the amount of resistance you feel laterally on the car, the dirty air from the car in front of you, that kind of easy little twisty S's bit becomes very, very difficult, especially trying to get all the way past another car. It's hard just to maintain your gap, let alone get past someone. So very good work from Alex there, as now he's looking for the net race lead, as he can see Viper just ahead, about 1.2 seconds.
Exactly that one, B23, as now Alex, he's going to try. I mean, he's in a decent spot. He's going to have fresher tires and a little bit more overtake, but Whiteout's got a ton of overtake. F16, though, getting a pretty good run. He's on older mediums, but he's still keeping right up to the back of a former multi-time champion here. And, I mean, Whiteout was definitely one of the top drivers that was highly rated coming into the season, but F16 showing that he is still going to give it his all, and he's still going to do what he can to make things interesting. And I mean, he's got one of his best mates and biggest rivals, May JP, just behind him. And as we go through the rest of the field, it's pretty far spread out here at the back. But right now, Nuko does lead the race, reigning champion and reigning runner-up. Currently in P2. Lucian has actually had a pretty good comeback race, all things considered. He qualified, what, down to like 7th, I think?
Yeah.
6th or 7th? And then we had to do it at least one of these times throughout the season. But now he's up in the 2nd.
6, 7.
When you work at a K1, you hear that a surprising amount of times.
I'm sure you do. And with racing too, and there's so many numbers going by, I actually hear it like way, 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 way more than I would think is natural. So I'm a little upset that I even notice it.
Actually, funny enough, I think 67 is actually Alex's number.
Ah, yes.
It is,
oh, yes,
yeah.
It is. By special request, he is about that age range, too, that's exactly his wheelhouse, and he specifically requested a number change before the season started. And as I'm the one who made that livery, I had to go make the decal for. So I'm just thinking the whole time, like, oh my god, I'm making the 6.7 decal, and I'm putting the 6.7 on the EXO car. Like, ah, geez. At least he's doing really well with it. P5 for the 6-7 at the moment.
You've been waiting for that one, haven't you? I think my affinity for punts is starting to rub off on you.
You know, it is what it is. It gotta go. But yeah.
It was gonna happen at some point. If it wasn't Alex, it would have been another driver. These youngins racing.
For sure. And that is another thing too, as we have a very big mix of nationalities and people from all over the world. We also have a huge range of age here, as there's some people on the grid who are in their late 30s, early 40s. And in SWT, we even got Ducky Dono and Nico. They're in their 50s and 60s. And of course, on the grid as well with them, we have a handful of teenagers who aren't even out of high school yet. So there's a huge age range as well as nationalities and culture mix-ups, and yet we all can gather here and perform at a very high level doing very similar stuff on the grid.
I was gonna ask who the oldest driver is, but I think I know exactly who that might be. It's the Acura driver of King. I think he might be the oldest, but yeah, regardless of age, regardless of nationality, we can all come together and unite over our love of motorsports and going really fast, as Viper gets past King there for P3 on the road. King now, he's on the alternate strategy, so he'll probably come in here in the next couple laps, and he'll probably come in around lap 20, I would say, to maybe shed those mediums to run on the soft tire for a bit, as Alex is going to go to get past his countryman now on a fresher set of mediums, roars on past in the EXO AMR, and he is going to jump up into P4, still trying to chase down the race leader, the net race leader of Viper. Still about a second between the two, but Viper is also going to burn through a good chunk of his overtake, so that might cause a bit of a headache for him later on in this race.
Oh yeah, same with Alex. When Alex was battling with Whiteout in those opening laps, he was all over that overtake just to ensure that he stayed ahead. But I do think it actually worked out for him in this case. Usually when you burn a lot of overtake early just to maintain one position, it doesn't work out for you. But when you're in the mix with these drivers in particular, I think it was necessary, as he did put himself in a good position and he's held it so far.
Yeah, exactly that. So, I mean, it's always going to be an interesting thing, right? Because, I mean, racing, there's so much to racing. There's so much management they got to do as King lets his teammate on through. No battling here. No Rosberg versus Hamilton stuff at Acura, as King is actually coming into the pits now, so he might start a bit of a chain reaction.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the first of the medium runners. And yeah, there goes F16, May JP. So I think the only medium runners that didn't actually go out at the moment. Let's see. Rogue hasn't done it yet. Tom and Yuki pitted a lap earlier, but Rogue actually has front wing damage, so that'll eat up another extra second or two in the pits. But now it's really just the front two.
Illusion. Yeah, and this is about where the pit window is opening up for the medium tire. Over the next 2-3 laps, I think we should see the remainder jump in the pits now, and we're probably going to see, in some variation, in some order, 2 sets of mediums and 1 set of soft tires throughout this race. I believe is what most people are going to end up doing, based on the amount of wear I've seen on these mediums.
Exactly that, and tire wear is always going to be such a huge factor as well. Trying to manage your tires, management is something that you need pretty much in everyday life, just about. As Lujan now comes into the pits, Nuko stays out another time though, so I'm surprised that Nuko has opted to stay out another lap. But yeah, he's stayed out for 1 additional lap, trying to go for the overcut onto Lujan. I mean, yeah, the two are pretty much their old-time rivals, so we'll see if that's going to happen.
Oh, P5 even. Very good then. Oh, it's because Arroyo also went into the pits. Arroyo was on pace to overtake him in the pits, but he also went into the pits, so that's why he came out P5 instead of P6. But yeah, with a good 5.5 seconds to King out there, only behind Whiteout. A 10-second gap to Whiteout, but given where he started and what the margins are now, Illusion doing himself a very good job so far just to put himself up to P5. Now, if he can manage to get this gap down, that would be very good. Now, the only way I can see really him getting that gap down outside of just sheer pace advantage on his end, which is going to be nearly impossible against a driver like Whiteout to have a definitive pace advantage over a whole stint, is if something happens to him or he gets slowed down by Alex. But Alex wouldn't want to deliberately put himself in a position to try to slow down Alex at this phase, just because Whiteout is such a big threat. You don't want to sacrifice or even risk that position if it's not necessary. But if Whiteout does end up catching up to Alex, that's when Alex can start to play the team game and defend in such a way that costs them both some race time.
But if they go that route, they're going to risk Viper just slithering away again and really just pushing out the gap. He's really starting to push out that gap now, but he's still on some relatively low overtake, so he needs to be careful as we are approaching about half race distance here for the first round of Season 7. But now we're going to have to see if Adaptive Inc. can really adapt to the situation he's currently in. He's on older tires than the guys behind, and he's got less overtake. But he does have a pretty healthy buffer between them. So we'll just kind of see where things end up. Whiteout is going to try to continue to close in that gap to Alex, and I think really Alex might now be more worried about Whiteout versus Viper, which, considering proximity, might be a good idea, but you really want to at least, I mean, you almost got to be a chameleon if you're in this position. You got to have one eye in front of you and one eye looking behind you.
Absolutely, and it's difficult. Everything you do at this phase is going to be a compromise. You help yourself in this way, you hurt yourself in that way. It's all a balancing act, and it's very difficult to manage at this phase when you're under constant pressure too.
Yeah, I mean, they say, you know, diamonds are formed under pressure, but you know what else is formed under pressure? Mistakes. So you got to be really, really careful, you know, not to goof up in any form, because Whiteout's gonna take it. If you mess up, Whiteout's gonna take that opportunity, and you give him an inch, he's gonna take an entire Nordschleife worth the miles.
Absolutely, and it looks like Illusion is starting to close in a bit on Nuco here, the two arch nemesis championship rivals from last season, duking it out for P4 here, and Illusion on a bit of overtake to catch up. He still has maybe about 20% more overtake than Nuco at this stage, but burning just a little bit of it, closing that gap up. Now it does seem he is in slipstream range. This is going to close that gap up even more. Now Nuco on the overtake, understanding that he is in that slipstream. That is the most vulnerable position you can be right now, is on this start-finish straight with a car behind in slipstream range. Now, using that overtake extended and nullified kind of that slipstream advantage just enough to maintain this gap where he is. And now as they go through a bit of corners, he extended it back up to over a second. But in the exit of that last corner, Illusion had it down to half a second. So big differences being made depending on the location of the track that you're deciding to push or make moves. That's why setting up your overtakes and timing all this stuff, knowing what parts of the track give you advantage versus your opponent, very important, and these guys know it better than anyone, as we saw Nuco deploying his overtake at the exact perfect time to maintain his position.
Also on track to setting the fastest lap of the race, which is currently held by his rival. So he's on track to set a purple lap here as things continue on here. We are getting close to about half race distance, or about 1 SWT race distance coming up here. So now Nuko is going to come across the line, and it will be improvement on time, but it will not be the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But, I mean, in that case, it's only an additional point, which, I mean, hey, it could be that one singular point. I mean, Max Verstappen lost a world championship by only 2 points, so, I mean, points, they matter. Every point is going to matter at this stage of the race, or even at this early stage of the season, really, because you, like we said at the very beginning, you want to start off on a good foot. You want to start off with all the momentum you can muster coming into the new season. So if you have a rough start like Whiplash is currently having at the moment, then that's not exactly going to be the most moralizing thing on the planet, but it could be good motivation for you to build up from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, sometimes there's nothing like the fire inside your stomach when you need to come back, you know, and when you need to prove that you know what you're capable of, and that's when you oftentimes can extract the very, very best, is when you're coming off of a race where you're on the back foot. But as you say, every single point matters, and when you're in a championship as competitive as this one, even the opening round can feel like a championship finale. It's that important. You cannot, you can't really even have a bad race and then just expect it to solve itself down the road. Every race matters with these guys.
Yeah, because, like I know we said earlier with Whiteout, you give him an inch and he'll take a Nordschleifer from you. I mean, you can say that about any of our championship contenders, really, because, I mean, if somebody messes up, somebody else is going to be right there to take it. And actually, that's kind of the position that F16 ASJ found himself in back in the LMP Master Series. Lucian was just having a very rough time of it. He DNF'd, and inheriting the podium is the driver currently on your screen of ASJ. And Tallman is in the gravel, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that. And I think he might have beached the car, so we'll take a look at that, try to get a glimpse. And Tallman's out, so that is a retirement for the Porsche guy. And that is unfortunate timing. We'll return back to racing.
Or equipment related, because it looked kind of odd the way he was just sitting in the gravel.
So that is one driver out of the race. We are down to 12 on the grid. Unfortunate there for the Porsche man, reserving up tonight, because he normally is. He is a reserve driver for Project Zero. That's another breaking development that happened just last night as well. But before then, he is a part of the Red Bull Adidas team in SWT. He has already raced there for them in DRL, another Super Formula Series that a good amount of these drivers partake in at some points. But speaking of drivers who partake in other series, Alex has done some other series as well. He's competed in a few GT3 and endurance races, but he is currently enduring any kind of pressure from Whiteout and actually starting to close the gap to Viper here. Is Alex, for the first time in his GPL career, potentially going to lead a championship if he wins here today?
Yeah, I think just out of slipstream range as they exit the final corner as well, building a bit of a gap to Whiteout in the process, and it doesn't look like he's used any overtake to get it done either. So looking like he's in a very good position, equal on overtake with Viper as well. And although Whiteout behind with double the overtake as both of the guys that are not far ahead of him, that's enough overtake to put himself in this fight. I think that Whiteout, I know he's a very smart driver and can manage a race as well. I think maybe he might be waiting for if Alex catches up to Viper. The moment he does, that might be a good time to dump some overtake, get yourself right back in the fight, and potentially, you know, a little opportunity might open up for you to make a little double overtake, find yourself in the lead of this race as soon as they find each other.
Exactly that. So
Whiplash and ASJ fighting as well a little bit here. Whiplash just getting ahead of ASJ. It looked like ASJ had a bit of a snap coming out of the exit of turn 5, which opened the door for Whiplash on the previous lap. ASJ inside a slipstream range, though, does look like he is going to be in range to fight this back if he can hold on through this final sector.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, out of all the drivers who have qualified, all the rookies that have qualified, ASJ is the highest rated rookie driver in terms of pre-qualifying time. He was ahead of Oreo, who I think is the only other driver that directly qualified for WEC. And then MayJP reserving up tonight, and then Tallman also reserved up tonight as well. So, I mean, there's definitely some pace. And actually, ASJ does have a win under his belt from the charity event. He won a rally race in a charity event hosted by 9 Pegasus Pantera back in November. So, I mean, granted, that was mostly for charity and for fun, but it's still a competitive win for the British driver, the young British driver currently in university at the moment. And we'll see if the Fighting Falcon still has some fight left in him, as now he's gonna just kind of mind his own space and just try to kind of wait for an opportunity. But if he plays too passive here, then MayJP, currently in in P9, is going to be pretty much right there for the taking.
Yeah, it does look like the pace of Whiplash is just a little too much for ASJ at the moment, which is, there's no shame in that, Whiplash being one of the fastest people over 1 lap in the world in these cars. And although his tires are in much worse condition, it doesn't look to be affecting him that much as his pace is still strong. King in the pits, however, on the soft tire, worst of which being that front left at about 25% remaining. And yeah, the pace goes away dramatically from there. Oh, we got Illusion right on the back of Nuco as well. This is exciting stuff. Just kind of taking a look at the gaps around to make sure we're not missing anything else in the meantime. That does seem to be the closest pairing. Yes, it is. So, worn softs now for these two. They're starting to approach their own pit window as well. They're going to want to shed these soft tires here soon, as they've just about squeezed all of the advantageous juice out of them as they can. A little bit of a wobble there out of the exit from Illusion. They're going wheel to wheel through the most dangerous section. Oh my goodness. Even to get a heap of dirty air through the death chicane there is very, very dangerous, as the name would suggest. Illusion just about getting the overtake, but kind of found the opportunity in a very scary part of the track. But now he's got a lot of... Oh, I just noticed Nuco completely out of overtake, as well as Illusion. So they've burned all their overtake.
Wow.
Illusion to the inside, which will become the outside here, which will become the inside once more.
Side by side for these two as they make their way through the death chicane, and now making their way to the top of this Croatian Dorito that we call Dragon Trail Seaside. Nuco taking a very deep dive inside, and if he's not careful, those track limits might come back to bite him if he takes too many of them, because he could get hit with a penalty that would slow him down drastically and allow Illusion to go up. But I'm surprised that these two are out of overtake already. We're just over halfway through this race here, and they're already out of overtake. Now, Alex is in a good spot overtake-wise. Actually, Alex is in the worst spot overtake-wise out of our top three. Whiteout's burned a good amount of his overtake. Viper is pretty much right on par with Whiteout, so... But does this mean... Oh, actually, Whiplash is just about out as well. But look at F16's overtake. He's got a mountain of overtake comparatively. And Rogue is saying that he has lost force feedback. So that is going to be a bit of a handicap for the Dutch driver.
And Illusion, the first one to blink out of the two as he goes into the pits to shed those soft tires, and more than likely will be on a new set of medium once he comes out of here. And he is indeed on the medium. Now, we're going to see if the brand new cold medium can make the difference against those worn softs of Nuco. this is a battle for position. Even though they're on their own now, this will net out to determine who will get that position coming out of the pits once Nuco decides to do so.
And we'll see when that is going to be, because, I mean, right now, I mean, we got battles happening all over the track. We got a battle up front as well. Alex, Whiteout, and Viper all kind of duking it out, but a few positions back. In a bit of this gaggle here, you got Whiplash, F16, King, and Mage AP all pretty much within striking distance of each other as we make our way along the Croatian seaside here. Very beautiful track. It's a shame that this track doesn't actually exist in real life, because right now we are having a spectacular race. You really could not have picked many other tracks that would have been better. And oh, F16's in the wall. He's got massive damage. Oh, and that is, he was having a very strong race. We're popping a replay for that one. And let's see what happens here. Was it just too optimistic? Was it too optimistic? No, yeah, he just kind of did that one on his own. A bit of an error there for the Fighting Falcon. Just had a bit too much afterburner going into that chicane and bit the wall for it.
I was wondering what happened to Alex, but he must have pitted as he is on brand new medium tires now. And luckily for him, I thought maybe a mistake happened or something. But yeah, 14 seconds now, the gap to Nuco. So as soon as Nuco pits, he should be behind Alex once again. Now, Comer was in the live chat here on YouTube mentioning that he believes that out of the top three, when Alex was in the mix as well, he believes Whiteout is actually in the best situation out of the three drivers.
Oh, actually, I did not realize. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong gauge, because Whiteout's also got a mountain of overtake.
Yeah, he had about double, and that was a handful of laps ago compared to Viper and Alex. And then Alex has used a little bit since then as well, so it looks like Viper's still managing, not using his overtake yet for his remaining quarter or so. Oh, it was indeed very, it was a pit lane overtake for Whiteout as he comes out of the pits just ahead of Alex. Now, Alex doing an amazing job to stay ahead of Whiteout this entire race so far, but now that Whiteout finds himself ahead, this is going to be extremely difficult to get past ahead of him, as Alex is burning the tiny last amounts of his overtake left to see if he can stay in range and get this done. This is very important for the outlook of the championship here if he can get this done.
Exactly that. So it's going to be difficult. I mean, Whiteout's definitely in an advantageous position right now. He's definitely got the advantage, considering the mountain of overtake that he's got to really both drivers. So
Viper in the pits.
Yep, he's coming in the pits, and Tallman, his power went out, so that's why he is retired from the race. So an unfortunate day here for Porsche, but that roster does have some promising talent, although we do know that it is a reserve driver role that Tallman has taken up. But if you think Tallman's got some potential, like we all think he's got a lot of potential here at GPL, you'll be able to see him next week as he takes on this track again in SWT, which actually, come to think of it, reserving up for WEC does actually help you out quite a lot, because you are, in that case, kind of getting some good practice with some pretty high caliber drivers. Pun entirely intended.
Indeed. Yeah. High caliber drivers, whether they are in high caliber or not, very high caliber are the drivers here today. And yeah, it does give you just a little sense of extra, like just extra pace, extra expectation when you're on this grid in particular. You know, I think just that kind of sense in the back of your head that you have to step it up just a little bit more does give you that feeling in SWT that you have that in you once you get back on that grid, that you have that little bit of extra that you can extract out of yourself.
Yeah, and it kind of shows, because I mean, for a while Tallman was kind of mixing it up with some of the regulars for a little bit, but then unfortunately the power went out, and so did his chances of completing the race. as unfortunate as that is. But yeah, it's been and actually a driver that we have really not talked about, who has honestly had a pretty impressive run here today, is J-Mart, the LFO racing driver. He's actually had a pretty strong day here. He didn't qualify particularly well, but he is doing pretty solid, all things considered, although he's going to lose a position now in the pits. And I mean, here's the thing though about this driver here. He has pretty much just stayed clean. He kept his car out of the walls. He's kept his car out of other cars, essentially. And he's really just kind of not gotten himself into any trouble.
Yeah, quite anonymous race for him, and not really been mentioned yet by us so far in this race. But when the race is playing out the way it is playing out so far, that's probably a good thing to have an anonymous race, as he gets just passed by ASJ. This is going to be a good battle. Anonymous no longer, as all the eyes are on you to see what you can do here. Brand new tires though, they are going to be a little cold, so as we saw there, as he gets a little slippy on the exit curb of turn 5, I believe it is there, he yeah, just losing the grip from the lack of temperature there. ASJ does have the advantage here in that regard, even though Arroyo is on the soft compared to ASJ's medium.
Yeah, so he's got to be careful not to burn too much of that tire up, but I mean, they are pretty similar on overtake, with J-Mart having considerably a bit more overtake compared to his former teammate, his expected teammate up until 24 hours ago, as these drivers now go ahead and continue to send it on through and continue to race their hearts out. But yeah, 2 rookies getting ready. The two out of the 3 remaining rookies going ahead and doing battle here. And I feel like we're going to see this exact battle quite a few times over the course of the season. J-Mart, actually a representative of Apex Motorsports. So he is going to go ahead and do his best to represent that team. And it might be a bit of a window for Apex Motorsports to come into GPL in Season 8, potentially. I mean, I know Season 7 just got started, but I mean, there's always potential for new teams, and some teams that didn't quite make the grid this time might have a shot next time. I mean, there's a lot of talks coming into the season. I mean, 9 Pegasus Panthera was potentially eyeing an entry. Racing Force also eyeing an entry. That Karma team actually eventually coming onto the grid through LFO for SWT. And just a lot of different things can happen. I mean,
yeah,
you never know.
as well. Yeah, it's never too early to plan when it comes to this league. You definitely want to get everything situated, and never too early to start planning your team entry. Oh, and they're both on the overtake now. These two trying to close up the gaps here. ASJ doing a good job at keeping him at the least effective end of that slipstream range there.
Yeah, but he took a bit more curve, and then, oh, look at that, he went wide, and J-Mart goes through. The goat-fueled power car making a statement here. Very strong drive there, very good on the overtake there, and he is up back into P9. He started in P13, and actually, I think maybe with the exception of, I think he's made up the most positions out of any driver on this grid here tonight. We'd have to do some fact checking after the stream, but I think he's made up the most positions out of everybody. The only driver I think that would be close would be, I think, Lucian. I think would be the only other driver potentially that could rival that on a statistics base.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of taking a look at the pace and the gaps here between Alex. So Alex was in the 19s, mid-19s, the whole entire stint that he was in front of Whiteout, basically matching pace with Whiteout. But now that Whiteout is ahead, Alex is about half a second slower per lap, and Illusion is actually closing the gap a little bit. It was just 3 seconds not long ago. Now it's approaching 2 seconds is the gap, Illusion to his teammate Alex. And that's a very impressive job from Illusion, I must say, given the initial starting gap between Illusion and his teammate Alex was massive, and now just through sheer strategy and clean driving, Illusion has worked his way up. It is P4 starting from P7, only a handful of positions, but the positions doesn't even tell the whole story of how impressive the gaps he had to eliminate were.
Yeah, so this is actually looking really good for Exodus Motorsports, the team that has been on top of the constructors here in some form or another in GPL for quite some time now. But Illusion is he's gonna actually, I think he's gonna make it to where EXO does score the most amount of points here at this stage, because in terms of just the teams here at the top, I think the team that's gonna definitely score the most is definitely gonna be EXO, because they're P3 and P4. But then after that, I think it's actually going to be Acura, because Acura's got a pretty good positioning as well. Foxhound definitely wanted more from today's race. They'll have 2 weeks from now when we head to the next round to kind of hope for more. It's really just not been Whiplash's race, quite honestly. Didn't have a great qualifying and kind of got tangled up at the start, and then he's been on a pretty solid recovery drive back on the P6, but yeah, he's just been a bit of a rough one there for the Foxhound Speed Group driver.
Absolutely, but being in P6, given where we've seen him struggling up and down the grid, he's been, it seems like, in almost every position on the grid at some point today, but now finding himself in P6 is not a bad shout compared to where he was at certain parts of this race.
Yeah, and King is actually not too far behind him, who actually has a metric ton of overtake compared to Whiplash, so he's got a really good chance to even jump up into that P6. He's on fresher tires too, so I mean, this could be King up in the P6, which really, this is kind of like a battle for second in the constructors for Acura. So Acura now gonna try to get into P, but look at that, look at King trying to assert himself here. Thinking about a move, almost gets it, not quite. The Legacy driver from the Legacy team, for the first time in at least one season, potentially more seasons, out of the double check, but for the first time in a while, Acura's back on the grid, and man, are they making a statement here with 10 laps to go.
Yes, and I did just some very quick calculations to get an idea of the live Constructors' Championship points as it currently stands. If the race were to end right now in the current positions, it would be Foxhound in P1, EXO in P2, and Acura P3.
Well, now that order might have just switched around a bit, because King is up into P6, getting ahead of Whiplash there. So that's a move he definitely needed, but he's got also the overtake to defend it. And he's got the fresher soft tires. Whiplash trying to look for every which direction. He's going to send it deep up the inside. King going to look for the switchback. But he's pretty much right within that effective slipstream range. And using the F1 Esports line, essentially. And King is just going to go ahead and fire on through with no issue. The benefit of having a ton of overtake versus none at all.
Well, it makes it a bit of a push, but Whiplash slows down as well, so nullifying any detrimental effects of that. A very good sportsmanship as well on display. And this position here between P6 and P7 is worth 2 points. It is for 10 points or 12 points. And so I think if they switch positions either way, it won't affect the order of the Constructors' Championship at the current round. But of course, those 2 points could be the difference between a championship and not by the time the last race comes around. So still very important to get these 2 points here if you're Whiplash or King. But either way, the race, if it ended now, will stand with Foxhound at P1, EXO P2, Acura P3.
And I mean, it's the first round of many to come here, so I mean, this order is really gonna change all over the place. as we get through, as we're going to take a look, as we're going to just take a quick moment here with the last closing laps to talk about the calendar a bit. Next up, we're heading to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain, so that should be a fun one. That is going to be a track where tire degradation is going to be very heavy, so if you're good about management, you'll do pretty good there, because management is going to be the name of the game. Seeing blue flags about, I'm not sure who they're for. I think, oh yeah, they're catching Yuki at the moment. So Yuki is going to be shown the blue flag here. Definitely not the debut for High Caliber that he was hoping for. He definitely would have wanted a better start, but he got caught up in the early moment tomfoolery and then just never really was able to recover.
Yeah, and Yuki uncharacteristically slow as well, just from a sheer pace perspective it seems, finding himself way back in the order, but then again I do give him a little bit of leeway in that regard because he has been on vacation for a long time, and I think he just got back to Japan, so he's had very little time to properly train and prepare for this round. I do expect that in the following rounds his form should improve once more.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that the pace is there, definitely, so we'll see if how it's going to come up in the later rounds. But also, here's the issue, though.
On May JP.
Yeah, he's looking to make up even another position, so I think definitively this would be the most amount of positions gained from any single driver here. So we'll see now. Two rookies going at it here on track. The LFO driver trying to take on the High Caliber driver, and a bit of a wiggle there from AJP. The reserve for High Caliber Racing getting a bit squirrely there in his HCR McLaren. And it is going to be McLaren versus Mercedes power. It's fighting on through. Who is going to go in and take the position? Is it going to be J-Mart? Is it going to be May JP? Who is going to come out on top of this one? We're going to find out. A good amount of overtake there. Let's do an overtake comparison. Actually, May JP has a bit more overtake, but J-Mart's tires are starting to fall off here. Goes a bit crazy through the chicane, and we saw that was the chicane that really put a hurting on ASJ's race here. So we'll see how this one's gonna play out, because I think these three are gonna battle for quite some time here. As we are about 6 laps to go in the season opener, and this is gonna be a spicy one for certain. Lucian now actually, and once again we're about to have a repeat of season 6. Lucian v Nuco battling for 4th. Really trying to battle off our best of the rest here, as they are trying to catch up to Alex and co up front. Alex has really fallen off in terms of the pace compared to Whiteout. But that is definitely due to the fact that Whiteout, he's been around the block a few times. He knows how to fight here. Returning after taking a bit of a sabbatical from GPL. And now he's going to try to chase down Viper, who has remained relatively unopposed in this race as we're down to the final 5.
Yeah, Illusion and Nuco getting really aggressive in their straight lines when they're approaching these corners. The way that they're setting up the corners, trying to declare the lines that they're about to choose. They're doing so in a very deliberate, very aggressive manner right now to show I am absolutely not going to let you pass me. And both drivers doing a very good job at the moment here. This is a really good battle.
Exactly that. You love to see it from these guys. These guys have been rivals for so long, and now the rivalry continues on even in 2026 for season 7. And who is that parked?
Oh, Yuki.
That is, oh, and he's out. So now we are down to 11. We are down to 11. Oh, J-Mark getting a little wobbly there in the LFO Mercedes. Is he going to be able to hold off? May JP is already starting to fire off into the distance, but now it is going to be between the two former teammates, Now we're going to do battle here. ASJ trying to send one up the inside. Bit of contact, shoving a bit wide there. ASJ going to let him back through. Probably the best thing to try to avoid a penalty there. As now ASJ is going to continue to try to chase on. He wants that P9. He can sense it. He's going to try to go for it, but J-Mart having a very impressive debut here on his debut. And here's the thing, unlike the other rookies, this is J-Mart's actual first race in GPL in any capacity.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job as well. I mean, the pace just out the gate's very impressive. And ASJ, I know it didn't count technically towards any official standings or anything, but that evaluation preseason race that we saw ASJ, he just dominated one of those races in very impressive form. So we know that he can hang with the best of them as well.
Yeah, just give him some time. And honestly, you can say the same about Tallman, Oreo, May JP. You can say the same about all four of the rookies here today. Give them some time, and they may just be the future of GPL. Early times for them, and all three of them. Although I don't know J-Mart's age compared to the other guys, but I know the other three rookies that were in this race are pretty young. Pretty young here. Pretty young drivers here with 3 laps to go. It is going to be the final ones. And there's actually quite a big spread here in the top 3. So we're going to focus actually on this battle here between Illusion and Nuco, as these guys are going to go ahead and fight it out.
Yeah, now Illusion really low on fuel as well, just a little bit less fuel than Nuco. Their tire wear is very similar. And like you're saying, in Barcelona next round, tire wear and the driver's ability to manage their tires is going to be a huge factor. In this race, it hasn't been a factor at all, and so that's going to be a big difference. So the tire wear has been pretty even across the grid, and right now we're seeing that as well. Nuco and Illusion's tires virtually identical, very small difference in fuel as well. No difference in overtake either. So this is going to be just a straight up driver's battle till the line. 2 more laps remaining. We're on lap 47 out of 48 now. And they are still wing to wing.
You can also say that about Whiteout and Viper, as these guys are pretty close to each other as well. I mean, Whiteout, he's got the better tires at this point, because look at Viper's tires. They are gone, but they're also both on low fuel. Yeah. So yeah, this race is not over yet. So Whiteout could take a victory here for Acura on their return to GPL. This is going to be
just as I say, tire wear is not a factor too, and then we see that destroyed tires in P1 up here. But I believe, would that be Viper taking 2 sets of soft this race? I think if that is the case that he did that, that's probably the miscalculation. I mean, it will work out for him in that it does seem it could make the distance, but it probably wasn't the optimal running through the whole race distance.
Exactly that, as now we do have, for what's about to be the final lap of the season opener, Whiteout is going to go ahead and try to do everything that he can to close it up.
Really
final lap here.
Fuel.
And yeah, they're both pretty much running dehydrated cars right now, as Viper is now only a second ahead of Whiteout. So this is going to have to be a strong defensive drive here from Viper. There's no more do-overs. This isn't Forza. There's no rewind button. You're here in the here and now, and that is going to be all she wrote. But in this race, almost coming to an end right there. But Whiteout now doing everything he can. Both drivers are, well, Whiteout has like a smidge of overtake left, maybe another 2 seconds at most of overtake. He's well within the slipstream, and here's the thing that works out good for Whiteout. It is going to be right across the line where you got a massive run. He's well within slipstream range at this point of the Grand Prix. So here we go, coming into the chicanes for the final time. Oh, and Whiteout's already looking for moves. He's not even waiting, and they're so close. They are wing to wing the tire. Whiteout's got the opportunity. Is he going to take it? Viper trying to go in and hug the inside. Whiteout's definitely got the advantage here. He's going to get a good run.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a drag race to line. And on the last lap of the race, who's it going to be?
Oh, my God.
By 31 hundredths of a second, Whiteout wins!
We had a photo finish in round 1.
Alex rounding out the podium. Whiteout wins by .031. What a drive!
At no point in this race did Whiteout have the lead
until that final drag race.
Until he crossed the line. That was incredible. And I had a feeling too coming out of that final corner that just the tire advantage of Whiteout, regardless of if he's on the inside or outside line, is probably going to give him just that little bit of extra grip in the exit to propel his car forward just enough. And it was just enough. 300ths of a second.
And now we got this final battle coming across now. MJP, ASJ, and J Mart, and then the last driver to come across the line is going to be Rogue. But yeah, that is going to be round 1 of the season done and dusted. What a round it has been, and what a way to welcome in season number 7. As your winner is Whiteout by 31 hundredths of a second. You could not got much closer than that one, B23.
No, not at all. That's about as close as it can get, and boy. Yeah, Comer is quite the oracle in the chat, because he did say early on, like within the first or second stint of that race, very early on, that that Whiteout was actually the driver in the best position, despite being in P3 and having a gap of about a handful of seconds to P1. Just the tires and everything, it all worked out perfectly right at the end, and it takes a lot of consistency to be in that position at the end of the race.
Exactly that. So we're going to run through our final standings for today's race. Whiteout wins, and actually according to this, it was actually even closer to that. So .028 is what's on the timing table here. Alex rounding out the podium, a very good start there for the XO reserve. And then Lucian had a rough qualifying, but definitely made up for it in the Grand Prix. Fastest lap to boot ahead of his rival Nuko. And then we have King, Whiplash, and MayJP getting a top 8 on his Super Formula debut here at GPL. And then it is going to be ASJ, J-Mart getting a top 10 in his debut from starting at P13. Very good result there from the LFO driver. And then Rogue, who had a really unfortunate time in this race. And then Yuki and Tallman retiring from the race. So that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here at the Grand Prestige League. The season is underway. And that is, I mean, you could have not asked for a better season opener, B23.
Oh, that was incredible. That was storybook levels of, I mean, we had storylines and battles going on at various different kinds of circumstances all throughout the grid, all throughout the whole race distance too. Usually we see some excitement at one stage, and then the gaps really spread out and then we have to just kind of focus on the gaps. Or sometimes we do have a handful of drivers who are battling throughout the entire race, but it's just those couple guys. On this race, we had a little bit of everything. We had gaps racing, we had strategy racing, undercuts, overcuts, you know, tire wear strategies came into play at the very end, battles with varying degrees of championship implications. It was about as good as you could possibly get, and I don't think it's going to get much worse as the season continues, because that just set the stage for what we were already expecting to be an insane championship with so many top drivers across so many different teams this season.
Exactly that. So we're going to run through, we're just going to go ahead and flash the finishing order on screen one last time. Whiteout taking a strong victory here today. A last moment pass for the end of the race, and that is going to set the tone for what is expected to be a dynamite of a season. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up here for us here at the Grand Prestige League. Season opener in the books. Tune in next week when SWT takes to the track. Our second division is going to be red hot as well. for a bit of a shorter race, but it is still going to be a fiery one nevertheless. On behalf of B23, my name is Patrick Coleman, aka Rekis, and we have been your hosts and commentators for today's Grand Prix. Tune in next week when we see SWT take to Dragon Trail yet again. Have a good night.